Good afternoon, everyone. We would like to introduce the speaker of the session, Dr. Sangappa N. Shilin, who works as Scientist D in Central Technological Research Institute, Central. He has more than 5 years of textile industry experience and 30 years of experience in research. He has carried out many projects which majorly revolves around fabric handle, development of silk knitting, development of low-cost cocoon drying machine, development of centralized heating system, real-time silk testing software, silk reeling slip button technology, etc. He is also member of the ex-secretary the Textile Association of India, life member of National Academy of Sericultural Science, patent member of Institute of Engineers, and member of Japanese Silk Science and Technology Association. To his credit, he has more than 35 papers published in international and national status journals, 2 books, and he has many conference papers which counts more than 25. With this short introduction, we would like to welcome Dr. Sangappa to this session. On behalf of the college management, principal, HOD, staffs, and students of the Department of Biotechnology, we welcome you to the session, sir. It is over to you.
Sir? Thank you, madam. Thank you. Yeah. Shall I start?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm very much grateful. Thank you, Dr. Manjunath and their team for inviting me to give a lecture on the today's subject is the biotechnology application in agri-tech. Something it is the subject is there, but basically I am a textile engineer. But somehow know that I have, with the help of the Dr. Manjunath sir, he has deputed some students of their college to our institute. We have done a very small project. Means not that to look it is a very small project, but it is the miracle it has been taken place now that everybody in the industry and even in the foreign countries know that they have appreciated like anything. Okay, so I will be the biotechnology application. I will be concentrating more on the textile. Okay, why am see why the textile is related to the agriculture only. For example, the cotton. Cotton is the agriculture product. Jute, hemp, and the silk. All these materials are the agriculture-based industry. The textile industry is linking between the raw material comes from the raw material, whatever the fiber is coming from the agriculture industry only. So hence the textile industry and the agriculture industry is closely, it is a link. We cannot tell no it is a different industry like no the service industry. It's not like that. It is totally related to the agriculture industry. So just now that we will, I will be telling that now, I will be sharing you with that textile sector in India ranks next to the agriculture. The highest employment generation given after the agriculture, the next industry is the textile industry. The Indian textile industry is the one of the largest in the world. So that this is the Indian textile industry is the, and about 27% of the foreign exchange earnings is from the exports. We do a lot of the textile exports to the other countries, and there we are earning about the 27% of the total foreign exchange of the India, and it contributes about the 14% of the Indian industrial production. Total, if you see the total industrial production, that about the 14% is from the textile industry. And the very important here is about the 3% of the GDPs of the country, 3% is contributed from the textile industry towards the GDP of the India. And 8% of the total excise revenue collection by the textile industry. Whereas we consider the total excise revenue generation, so the 8% is contributed by the textile industry. So 21% of the total employment of the Indian population is engaged in the textile industry. So about the 35 million people are directly employed in the textile manufacturing activity. So I am separating it from the agriculture. Apart from the agriculture, the 35 million people are only directly into the textile market, whereas the 60%, 60 million employed in the agriculture-based raw material production. For example, just now I have told cotton growing, okay, hemp growing. These are the agriculture. These products are called as the natural fibers: cotton, hemp, jute, linen, wool, rabbit wool, camel wool, and the silk. These are all agricultural activities. So here we can find that that 60 million employed in the employment generation generated in India from the textile industry alone. Then the one third of the value exported total, when we see the compare the export, the one third of the total export is from the textile industry. Again, excuse me that I want to know that any clarification in the middle, because no, I am not fluent in the delivering the lecture continuously. So in the meantime, know that if any questions are being asked, the questions are most welcome, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
See, approximately the 1,227 textile mills are in India, and these mills are the organized mills. I'm talking about the organized mills, where about approximately it is approximately 1 lakh spindles uh, capacity, and the well organized means no minimum that to start a textile industry, the huge investment is required here, and the area, the total area itself not less than the minimum 10 to 15 acres land is required. So like that, organized mills in India is 1,227 textile mills are there. About 12.8 billion meters of the fabric is being produced. So this fabric is the maximum, about the 80% of the fabric are used by our domestic market, as we have the huge domestic market and the domestic consumption. So the 12.8 billion meters of the fabric is being produced out of the textiles, and some part will be they exported, and some part, the maximum part is consumed by India. In the world, textile industry in India ranks the second, whereas the textile industry of the other countries in the world, if you consider it, the India is the second largest producer of the textile goods, and the second largest producer in the silk. Whereas the silk industry is concerned, the dominance is number one is China, and the second comes is the India. Only these two countries are the major producer of the silk. The India, whereas when we see that Indian unique is the structure of the Indian in case of the tax, labor, and the regulatory policies. Policy, the whatever the policy we make it, being a government of India, we see that you have seen that now that the 1,227 textile mills are there. Whatever we make the policy, apart from these textile mills, there are the small industries, cottage industries, and the family-run business textile industries are there. All these things, whatever we make the tax and the labor law, whatever it is related to the it should penetrate to the all the sectors of the textile industry. So hence, in India, the textile growth is continuous, and it has stood this first in the second in the world. Why it is? Because of these factors. That is, the Indian is having a unique structure. That is tax, labor, regulatory policies, small scale labors, intensive enterprises, and the handloom, khadi, all these things, sectors, and the hand printing, and the hand woven, and the where no machine mechanization, whereas the khadi and the handloom and all. So we are protecting these industries because why the handloom and the khadi industry is being protected is the very important is the employment generation and the product coming out of the handloom and the khadi is a unique. You cannot compare with the high-end machines. For example, rapier looms, power loom, power loom, where the fabric comes, it is a different structure. But whereas the structure created by with the hand or the handicrafts is the handloom and the khadi industry. So we give a lot of the concentration on to the development of the all these the cottage industries. So in the textile industry, again the classification, there are the several fibers are there. Okay, the natural fibers. The natural fibers are the viscose based, means no plant based. That is cotton, jute, hemp, linen. These fibers we get it from the plants. Again, it is related to the agricultural industry. There are the other type of the fibers, that is animal fibers. The silk is coming out of it is a protein fiber. The silk is a protein fiber, and the wool is also a protein fiber. Wool comes from the sheep, sheep, and another variety of the fiber are there, that is called as what we call man-made fibers. That is synthetic polyester, polypropylene, polyester, so many fibers are there. Those are the product of the petroleum products. Whereas we have the regenerated fiber also. The regenerated fibers are produced out of the wood pulp. Whatever the woods are there, the wood will be cut into the pieces, and again we make the regenerate and draw the fibers. So that is those fibers are the wood based. That is the viscose fibers. The what we call as the viscose rayon, acrylic rayon. I think know that you might be knowing the whatever uh, the sweaters, all these and the sari variety, all these varieties are called as regenerated fibers. Again, here the uh, uh, there are the different fibers. Uh, uh, the cotton in India or everywhere in the world, highest fabric is from the cotton. Cotton. Nowadays, the linen has come. Linen is almost equivalent property of the cotton, like cotton. These two properties are the almost same. It is very comfortable. It is very easy to spin the yarn and make the fabric very conveniently we can convert. And apart from that, the nature has given us the so many properties. See, for example, that whatever the man-made fibers are there, nowadays it is more than 50 to 60% of the fibers is occupied by the man-made fibers. These man-made fibers, while doing the research on the man-made fibers, they were not interested in the any industry or the, any development or the innovations took place to make the copy of the cotton, silk, and natural product, natural fibers. While making the copying the natural fibers, the synthetic fibers has evolved. So it is very interesting. Yeah, the people wanted to make it know that artificially can we make the cotton fiber with the help of the petroleum product or the synthetic fiber or the regeneration. It was not at all matching. Till today, so many research have been taking place to copy to make the copy of the natural fibers. They could not do it, but somehow because of the other properties and the cost, whereas the cost is compared, so these man-made fibers is slowly occupying the fiber area. Again, we have the blends also. See, for example, the cotton is having a unique nature, okay, and whereas the linen is having a different nature, so that we can combine these two yarns to make the yarn. Where, for example, the man-made fiber is there. It is the highly oriented fiber, okay, so it is having the very high strength. Whereas the comfort property is concerned, so it is not having the comfort property. Comfort properties are the moisture absorption, moisture retention, and the whenever we sweat it, the cotton absorbs and the swelling takes place. As the swelling takes place, again it traps the air and to increase the temperature, body temperature, and so that no, it gives a lot of the comfort. So the blends is when we wanted to do it for the industrial fabric, for example, that where the wear and tear is very high. So during that time, we need the strength of the fabric and we need the comfort of the fabric also. So that during that time, there is a technology called blending technology, fiber or the yarn blending. What the yarn bending, fiber bending is totally mixing of the two different fibers or three different fibers in the required proportion to get the required uh, end users. Yeah, here usually in the textile, the fibers will be there. Then the fibers will be used for the spinning to make uh, the. Just imagine that cotton is there. It is a round form. It is a totally haphazard manner, and then those has to be made into the single fiber and straight the fiber. Then that is called as spinning. Very simple way. And in the spinning we get the thread, okay, whereas the next process is weaving. What is the weaving? Putting, there is a warp yarn, two yarn together to making the a structure to make the fabric is called as weaving. And apart from the weaving, one more process is there. You might have seen whatever your t-shirts and all these things, track shoots are coming from the knitting industry. Weaving is a fabric making process. Knitting is also a fabric process, but the technology is totally different. And one more technology is there, that is non-woven. Non-woven means a fiber will be delayed, and with the help of the needles, they will make it and make it a bunch. What we have been observing The non-woven textiles is nowadays the bags you might be seeing that in the malls and all, they will provide the bags. That those bags are made from the non-woven. What the fabric is called as non-woven fabric, and then it comes the finishing industry. So here our biotechnology is the can be directly related. Already biotechnology is there in the manufacturing of the fibers. For example, jute is there. Okay. What is the jute? A plant. So the jute fiber is coming from the bark of the jute plant, jute stem. So what they will do first, they will cut the jute stem and put it in the river where the rivers is there, where the water stagnant is there. They will put it there. Then after putting the 2 to 3 days or 4 days, 5 days, depend on the environmental condition, then it is the bar can be or the fiber can be easily comes out. They know that already in the nature has given the biotechnology to make it the separation of the fibers from the stem. And next comes is the finishing industry. In the finishing industry, biotechnology is very much applicable here. In the finishing industry, what finishing industry means, the fibers or the yarn or the fabric, whatever we get it, there lot of the other foreign materials contains in the yarn. So to make the cotton yarn very white, again we do the bleaching process. Again we do this covering process. Covering is whatever the foreign material, like just like know that it is a plant material. When the leaf material or the some other foreign additives are there, those has to be taken away, and it contains the small percentage of the oil, ash content, and so many other metal content is also there. So those has to be removed. So the removal process is taken place in the finishing industry. And the finishing industry also includes the dyeing also, color, making the color. The textile fabric is totally it is attractive to make them more attractive. So the dyeing is important. The color of the dye, shade of the dye, and the hue of the dye. So many factors are important here. So these are all. It's a very 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 big industry, the finishing industry. Then next comes already in Bangaloreans, we know that what is the apparel industry or garment industry. So highest it gives the employment to the apparel industry. These apparel industries, whatever the fabric produced in the mill sector or the unorganized or the cottage sectors, those fabric will come for the value addition here. What we are making is in the apparel industry, we are adding the value to the goods so that it will be exported to give the foreign earnings higher side. I think I am not getting any questions here. Hello.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah. Are you getting interested? Or
No, sir, it is interesting, sir.
it is interesting. It is totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thank you. See here, one more, no, that I think, no, that if I keep on telling, that will become this thing. If, we are doing a research, okay. So here, very interesting thing, no, that what I have done with the, I'm not background of the biotechnology or the biology. I'm not a biology. I don't know the subject and all. When we discuss it here, so the cocoon is there, no? The cocoon, it starts eating the leaf. Okay. So leaf is having around 35 colors. Different colors are there. 35 different colors together, but it looks like only one color, that is the green color, but it doesn't. It contains so many other colors. See, the nature, the silkworm, it starts eating, and after the 25 day, it creates the gland. This is the silk gland. Okay. Then after the maturity of the silkworm, it starts spinning. Spinning is to making the cocoon. I will show you the cocoon. These are the cocoons. These cocoons are formed after eating the leaves. It will give the colors. So here, no, that very interesting we can see is here. Some cocoons are yellow in color. Some cocoons are white in color. Some, this is external case. Okay. So this is not the natural. These two color cocoons only comes. We know that in the leaf material there are the 32 different colors are there. So it is not. It is taking only one color, yellow color. This variety of the silkworm is giving only yellow color. But whereas this variety of the silkworm, it filters all the colors. It will not take any color to make the cocoon as a white only. Okay. So here interesting is when I was thinking that why it is giving the yellow and why it is not giving the this white, this type of the silkworm, why
Professor,
it is not giving, sir?
can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
One
Please tell me.
question. Can you explain what are the other natural textile fibers that can be tried?
Uh, there. Can you repeat the question, sir?
Can you tell us what are the other natural textile fibers that can be tried for the process?
Yeah, see, there are the so many, whatever in the nature, the viscose material means plant-based material. There are so many fibers can be explored from the agriculture. So far now that whatever it is there, it is a commercial crops. Whatever it is there, those are there. But other than that is there are the spider silk, and there are the other animals. For example, now that we are getting the rabbit wool also, that we are using it now. So the other animal fibers also can be tried. There are so many fibers. Even the shells in the sea, no sir, there will be shells. Sea shells will be there, no. So inside that the worm is there, no. If they after the we can draw the that worm and make it fiber. There is that is also the way possibilities are there. So many possibilities are there. We can try those fibers also. I think now I have clarified your this thing, sir. Yeah. So here what we did is here the silkworm in the nature, the silkworm is having the filters, color filtering capacity. It is very astonishing character. So these cocoons, the yellow color cocoons, it filters all the other different colors and to make the yellow only. And this. And then I was thinking that why can't we make the different color cocoons? Okay. Then I have tried with the different colors, but I could not get it. Then lastly, what I did is I have taken a color which is having the particle size. Then I have made very small particle in the nano size. Then fed it to the cocoons. During that time, there is a particular each color is having a particular particle size are there. So if we go the below the particle size, which is non-filterable by the silkworm, we can make it. So like that, now we can make the different color, naturally colored cocoons. So here the advantage here is the that after the making the silk, we dye, we use the so many azo dyes and the chemical dyes, and those will be the burden onto the effluent. It will be affect the environment of the environment. So to avoid that one, can we make it tried, we could able to get the success. The only thing is the very important here is the particle size should be the very minimum, which the silkworm should not be cannot be filtered. So I have used this pink color so that I made it very nanomaterial. So this went into the silk gland. See here now you can see the silk gland it went in. Then ultimately it gave this color. So natural color, different color also, it can be tried. So this is the small intervention that what I have made it. Because when I was studying in the college, during that time, the ISA and the other institute, they wanted to do this type of the natural color fibers. But I don't know that what the studies they have done it. After that, when I joined the synthesis board, so I tried it. The very now the very it's very simple, so that the particle, dye particle, whatever the dye we, if it is the less than uh, the filtering capacity of the silkworm, if you cheat it, then we get the whatever color we want. And one more small that earlier in my first slide or second slide presentation that I have done, Dr. Manjunath sir has deputed some group of the students. Along with those who they were having the knowledge of the biotechnology. So, a small work I have done it. Then I will explain sir this. Cyanobacteria. I'm not the this thing biotechnologist. Just I will tell that that how we did the process. First, we have collected the cyanobacteria, which is in the aquatic based environment, where we grow. It is largely available. The logic here is when I have discussed with the biotechnology students, your Oxford College students, then I told that no, that if we go near the lake or the river, something somewhere, so I feel very comfortable and very happy and all these things. What is the reason? If I come away from the lake side and the other side, so I was having the uncomfortable situation. If we go to the lake side, we get the very comfortable these things. Why it is getting that one? There might be something other. So, for example, if we go to the seaside also, there also lot of the water is there. Again, there also we feel the uncomfortable. Whereas compared with the lakeside. So then one of your student, that she told that, sir, something is there, that the biotechnology is taking place there. So because of that one, we may feeling the comfort and all these things. Right? So then immediately what I told is, can we study that one? No, again it will be the whatever you do the culturing of the bacteria and all these things. If you do it, we can make it the nanomaterial and we can apply it to the textiles, so that no, that it will give the some impact might be there. Then we started the working here. So again now that we did the collected the cyanobacteria, that mass. From there, dilution, and from the dilution, again the subculturing, culturing. After that, that characterization also they have done it because they were having a lot of the knowledge. Then after that, what we did is uh, we have taken this fabric. In the fabric, what we did is first the fabric treatment it has to be done. Then we have used the plasma technology. The plasma technology is the fourth side of the matters, where the the molecules or the molecules in the textile should be excited. Okay, when we give the any treatment to it, so the molecular interaction will take place, locking will be pakka, and those fabric the last last longer because it is entangled. Molecules are entangled. If in entangled condition, after the so many washes also, so it will not be leach into the environment. So what we did is we gave the plasma treatment. Just I will tell you the what is the plasma. Small videos are there. This is the ice. This is the water. This is the air. So just know that just for our understanding, no, we call it as a plasma is the fourth state of the matter. This is the third state. Again, this is the fourth state where all the molecules should be excited and it will be hit onto the textile so that no that the other yeah. So this treatment we have done. Already we came to know that now for the entanglement of the whatever we may make the nano material, so it should be fixed onto the fabric so that the leaching should not be taken place. Leaching is, see, whatever, there are so many studies they have done it, but what they did is just apply onto the textiles. Again, know that when the silk saree, when you purchase from the market, the shopkeeper tells you that no, not to wash, only dry wash, because the it is there is a leaching in it, leaching of the color, bleeding of the color will take place. So whatever the treatment is there, it is all become temporary. So here we want to make it pakka. So for that purpose only, that we have used the uh, plasma technology. Then after that, whatever the culture material, what we have taken is we have dissolved into the sericin. Uh, Sorry, not dissolved in the sericin. We have mixed with the sericin. What we from the sericin again with the soldier process, we have developed the nanoparticles. Okay, so when the nanoparticles are there, so it will be entangling into the textile fiber or the silk, so that it will be leaching will not take place, and the effect. What is the nano? Nano is the smallest part. Okay. In the smallest part, what will happen? When it is the smallest part, the action will be almost the 1,000 times than the usual material, a solid material. So hence, know that the nanotechnology nowadays, know that the physics people in IISc and the other research institute, there a lot of the effort is being put to do the nanotechnology into the other field. And then after the nanoparticle is prepared, we have mixed with the bacteria is mixed with the sericin material. Sericin is a fibrin material. Sericin is a silk material. Then there, what we did is we we could able to get the nanoparticle in the capsule form. Capsulation is not that why we have done it is, see, the bacteria know that if the growth is there, there is again environmental problem will come. So to restrict the growth of the cyanobacteria, we have covered with the capsulated with the sericin. Why the sericin is a protein material. So it is it encapsulates and we can generate the nanotechnology, nanoparticles from the sericin material. So those materials, a nanomaterial produced with the encapsulated sericin, silk material, protein material, and we have done the characterization. Characterization, what is the size of the nanomaterial. Then we found that 30 to 200 nm nanometer particles were there. That was the most nano, that is the best nanomaterial for application to the textiles. Then what we did is we have taken the we have uh, those nanoparticles we have uh, in the plain water we have dissolved it. Dissolved means we have just we have not studied whether it is dissolving or not. The particle size were there. Then those will be sprayed onto the plasma treated silk fabric. Then after that, then what? Then we have how to test this fabric now, whether it is filtering the filtering, whether it is doing the filter or not, what comfort property it is giving and all. Then very interesting is now that what we did is one of the this here now that vehicle pollution emission testing centers are there. So there we went. Then we told that uh, I want, can you give the there is a gas in it, air in it that has to be tested. See, we have taken a very small bottle. In the bottle, we filled the emission from the vehicle. Two-wheeler vehicle we have taken in the exhaust where we get the uh, polluted air. We took that one and one without the silk fabric in the bottle we have tested it. There we found that the oxygen 2.39 and the carbon monoxide 87 and the carbon dioxide is 12.87. Okay, so of course, now this figures is now that whatever is the available emission testing center that those results has given. Then what we did is we have taken the bottle, put the treated fabric inside, and then we collected the emission coming out from the two-wheeler. Then that air, when we tested it, it has come the miracle output. The what is that one is the oxygen level where it was in the control sample it was 2.39, it has gone to 21.03. And the second thing is the carbon monoxide. See, the carbon monoxide is the very, very, very dangerous gas where even the plant will not consume. Even the carbon monoxide converting into the carbon dioxide or the oxygen, it is very, very difficult. Even in the chemistry, chemically treating with so many chemicals also, it is very difficult to break the carbon monoxide. But whereas here, that the cyanobacteria where totally it was breaking the carbon monoxide. This is very, very interesting and the miracle study. And whereas the carbon dioxide is concerned, again, no, this carbon dioxide, no, that we get a lot of the plants and all, apart from this the bacteria also, we can convert the carbon. Only thing is the carbon monoxide. The carbon monoxide also, it has been broken means I was totally, when I discussed with the chemical people, they have also that they told that no, the nature is having the biotechnology is having the so much power that even it converts the carbon monoxide into the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. This is very interesting study and the all over the world. The study they came to know that no, they just with the abstract when we have sent to the some other scientists, so they have shown the very, very interesting. I know that this study has to be carried out by the some other batch or some other Oxford college, so that it is we all know that what is the pollution in the here in the cities. Daily we see this thing. Yeah. So this is the one of our this thing. So again, now that there some questions were there, know what are the different fibers and all. No? So natural fibers, know that in the silk itself, no, the silk is see usually the Japan, what we see, very advanced country and we work with it. How they become the advanced country is the backbone. Because of the sericulture, they could able to earn the foreign exchange very great, which will help the other industry to grow it. Even in China also, silk, silk is growing because of the economy. This is the yeah, whereas the agriculture is concerned, this silviculture is plays a very attractive than the any other commercial crops. For example, when we can grow these cocoons, uh, in 25 days we will get the money. There are the cocoon markets in it. Okay, regulated market where it is within 25 days we get the salary for after the 30 days or the 1 month. After 1 month we are getting, whereas the sericulture farmers they can get the money every month after the 25 days only. 25 days they will get the money immediately. When compared to the other agricultural product, this is a we cannot since from the history we have not come out that no that this their product is not being sold. Always whatever the requirement is there, the raw materials is always shortage. Whereas whatever we produce the silk in India, it is not meeting our even local requirement. For example, our sari making people, handloom people, we are not making. Again, we are again dependent on the China to import the silk. Hence, our production again as usual, that in the natural. So wherever the market demand is there, the price will be dominant in it. See, even nowadays, that it is selling 800 rupees kg, 1 kg for 1 kg cocoons. But whereas here, that is, I'm talking about the mulberry cocoons. There are the naturally wild silks are there. Only the India, this variety, this Muga cocoons, this is the wild variety of the silkworm. So where the silkworm eats only som tree are there. In the northeastern states, som trees leaves are being eaten by these silkworms. And these silkworms are only, this variety is only the India is producing, not other. Whereas in the China, the tussar cocoons are being produced and the eri cocoons are being produced. So this is golden in color. So these fibers, these cocoons are there. This is the wild variety cocoons. This is the other than the silk. These are also a silk, but it's a white silk. So it's having the natural color. Even here the dyeing in the other is not required here. Here natural color, whatever it is there, natural color fabric is very attractive here. And the cost is concerned. For example, sir, the synthetic yarn. Synthetic yarn is 100 to 150 rupees 1 kg. Whereas the cotton is concerned, the cotton rate is 200 to 250 rupees per kg. Whereas the silk is concerned, now the price is the mulberry silk. This silk is now the 5,500 rupees per 1 kg. So just we can compare, that what is the difference between the fiber to fiber. So because of the natural material and its color, its strength, its luster, it is a tradition. Because of all this tradition, so the silk price is almost, that whatever the percentage you can calculate. That is where is the 150 rupees and where is the 5,000 rupees per kg. Whereas these varieties of the cocoon silk is concerned, these varieties, tassar you might have seen it, that in the tassar sari will come, tassar shawl, so many other products are there. So these products, the silk yarn, just for your understanding, I am telling you that what is the price difference. So this price is around 8,000 rupees per kg. Tasar cocoons are 8,000 rupees per kg. Whereas this muga, this is again the unique nature. So this is more than 10,000 rupees 1 kg. So just 150 rupees and 10,000 rupees rate. Okay. So these cocoons are the eri cocoons, eri silk cocoons. Here, this is used for not making the fiber directly into the yarn, because the nature no that it is an open mouth. So the open mouth means the silkworm will come out and again it starts its life cycle. This is the raw material. This is the byproduct of the this thing. And from here also that we can draw the fiber, and spun silk is being made, and then from spun silk yarn there is a tradition in the northeastern states. Every woman, every woman in the house, she has to weave her clothes of own. And apart from the own, again, no, she should give the fabric to the whoever the guests are coming into their house. So that nature, because of that culture, so this eri cocoons is made. And whatever the inside the silkworm, that is pupa, what we call it as pupa. That pupa is selling at the rate of 800 rupees 1 kg. And whatever the mulberry cocoon pupa is selling almost around 100 rupees per kg. That is byproduct what we are telling. That is not useful, but it all the way it is those pupas were transported from Karnataka. Is the 60 to 70% of the silk is being produced in the Karnataka, and next comes the Andhra, next is Tamil Nadu. Southern state in sericulture, southern states are very much dominant. See, all the way from the Orissa and the West Bengal and the Northeast, the fish culture people will come here and take this pupa to feed the fish feeding, because it is having the very it's having a special nature in it, special protein, so which is consumed by the fish means it is just like the students or the kids, the complan or the it is just like the what shall I say, complan or Horlicks. Yeah. And here, one more, the biotechnology in this case also, the we can work is what I was thinking. See, when we see the morphology of the tussar cocoons, there no we can find out these terrations. So even with these terrations, when you make the fabric, again know that we may feel if you wear the silk fabric, there will be a light scratching effect will be there. Okay, but of course know that when we give the very high price, and because of this its color and nature attraction everything, but we find that no small itching it takes place because of these serrations. So here also that to we can avoid this small serration. This is of course this is the magnification is very high. It is not visible to the naked eye. So we can reduce by application of the biotechnology, the enzymes or some other things. We can try it. If you remove these derivations, again know that this value addition of this silk will be again it will be increase. So here also know that it is there. This is the some analysis. Sorry, yeah, some analysis of the area. There are the simulations, whereas in the mulberry it is not being found. So here also know that we can try it for the this thing. apart from these cocoons, see, it is a natural grown cocoons. These are called tussar cocoons. It contains the tannin in it. See, usually to take out the fiber, we have to cook the cocoons. Whereas the mulberry cocoons is concerned, just with a 1 minute or 2 minutes, no, it will be cooked and the fiber starts coming out. But whereas the tassar and this wild silk variety of the cocoons is concerned, so it requires the huge chemical application. Whereas in the mulberry, we don't use any chemical, just dipping in the water, hot water, for the 1 minute or 2 minutes, it will be boiled and the fiber will come out. Whereas here, the fiber coming out is very, very difficult. Even they will add the hydrogen peroxide. Once we add the hydrogen peroxide, the natural color will be broken and the natural color will not return. But we have to retain the natural color and we have to cook the cocoons in a faster time. For example, they will take around 1 day or 2 day. They will dip it into the soap, soda, and hydrogen peroxide, sodium silicate, so many other chemicals they will use it. If it is not being used, see, this is a wild variety, natural. And again, if we add the chemical, again it will become the origin of the green will not be retained. To maintain the green, if we apply the biotechnology, a study can be taken. It will be very interesting, so that with the help of the biotechnology, if it is being cooked for example, nowadays it is taking 1 day or 2 days, they have to dip it in the chemical. Instead of that one, if you take a study to do the select the suitable biotechnology to cook the cocoons in a shorter period and retain the natural colors, so that will be the miracle. Because even now that this variety of the silk is having the lot of the demand in the market. So to purchase the Muga silk, no, it's very, very, very difficult. Even if we ask for our experimental purpose, the people will not be ready to sell their product. So this is the this it can be thought of one thing. And apart from the biotechnology, see, the biotechnology has the potential to play the key role in development of the entirely the new polymeric material, as well as the production of the natural fibers with a great improved modified properties. Even see, what we can think is, see, we already I have told you that 40 to 50% is the occupied by the man-made fibers and the regenerated fibers. So those fibers can we apply on the polymer technology to enhance what is there. The strength is there. Only the strength and elongation percentage of the natural synthetic material is there, but it's not having the any comfort property, that is moisture absorption, moisture retaining, and the dyeing property and all. It is not there. Can we, if we by applying the biotechnology onto the man-made fibers, so there we can make the bring a different product diversification can be made, and whatever the eco-friendly fiber also, it can be converted into the eco-friendly fiber by manipulation, by the application of the biotechnology. We can think it up. So this is one issue where we feel where we can try our application until so far. What I have studied is, that very few people have been studied on this material. Just yeah, we can. This is a new area where we can work. And the solving the important issue connected with the cotton crop cultivation. That is notably the better insect disease. See, usually in the this is agriculture product, there is a natural that we get the it is affected with the insect and the disease will come. All this disease and all nowadays the synthetic fertilizer is being used. So instead of the fertilizers, if the nowadays there is a demand for the um, demand for the natural materials. So once if we the into the plant or the agriculture plants and all, if it is there is a again know that there is a lot of the burden on to the environment. If we by applying the biotechnology, so if we make it know that we control the disease or the proteins and the required protein to the textile fiber plants, so that will be very very interesting, sir. And in the silk also, so there is a lot of the diseases onto the plant, where the plant leaves is being eaten by the silkworm. If it eats the disease, the plant's the disease leaves, so it gets the disease, and again the yield of the cocoon will be affected. So with if we use the fertilizers or the chemicals, again no, the silkworm is a very very sensitive insect. So it will not be interested in the eating the leaf. Once if it is stops eating the leaf means no, again we will not get the silk. To get the better silk, if it is the biotechnology is being used, so where it will not affect this affect the silkworm, so that no silkworm will be helpful to eat the leaves without the disease. If the disease are controlled with the biotechnology, so again it will be a very big industry. You know that nowadays the silk is being used in the so many other. It has been diversified for the other textile field also. It is the silk is being used in the medical. Silk is being used in the medical textiles, and silk is being used for the non-textile application. Is silk is every. For example, I will tell you the silk. That even if you see the soaps, toilet soaps, there no it will be mentioned silk. It contains silk, and all the cosmetics, it is made up of the silk material is being added to it. So if the silk is pure silk, the silk is green silk, then the application into the cosmetic industry, medical industry, so it will be very very helpful to the helpful to the manufacturers, cosmetic manufacturers, because they need not have to scratch their head, no, because it is a green material means directly they can use. Otherwise, no, they have to sterilize, they have to separate the other carcinogenic materials. It is a lot of the problems. It is there. If it is biomaterial, by application of the biotechnology, if the silk is made green silk, then that will be a lot of demand in the market. Then once again, that textile effluent is coming out. That is very very very. The textile environmentalists know that they are lot of the objections and the is being raised. We have seen this thing in and the wet pressing industry. Wet pressing is where we do the dyeing, printing, finishing, all these things. Know that they are very much concerned about the effluent. So there also a lot of the effluent. See, for example, why I am telling is the highest water is being consumed by the textile industry, because even each process, no, it needs huge water. For example, to make the 1 kg silk, you need minimum 400 to 500 liters of the water to make 1 kg. So India, in total India, know that we are producing almost 30 metric ton we are producing the silk. So how much water being used? And these waters are the affected with the chemicals. Even in the reeling industry is what purchasing the cocoons, converting into the thread. This is the process. They will not add any chemicals in it. Even though there also, when we have tested the water, the BOD and the COD level is very, very, very low. So it is objectionable this thing, by the pollution control board. So there also we can dry it where the huge water is the left to the drainage or the to the environment. So that water, if it is with a sufficient COD and the BOD level, so the objection will may not be there, because if it taken care by application of the biotechnology, I think now that we can do the a lot of the study. See here in the textile industry, the low cost fabric, that is, it is made of low cost means no already that you know the price of the different fibers. Now we can the low cost is synthetic. Why the synthetic is dominant, is slowly taking the dominance is because of the cost, because of the cost factor. It is coming, and then to reduce the once again the cost of the dyeing and the other process, the people started, the industrialists started using the azo dyes. Azo dyes are the very, very, very dangerous dyes, where the it is giving a cancerous effect to the human being as well as the animal kingdom. So that has to be if it is these effluent, whatever the coming out by application of the biotechnology, can we reduce the azo dyes chemicals, convert into the eco-friendly and release onto the discharge into the ground level, so that it will protect our environment. So there also that we can study a lot. And again, now that I have told, so many chemicals are being used for the other processes like resizing, bleaching, scouring. Lot of things are there, and the silk, textile effluent, and the apparel finishing also. Lot of the water is being used. There also we can study it. And the another thing is that, see, after nowadays, that this economic condition of the Indians is know that again know that we are there, we are very comfortable position. See now nowadays old shirt, if I wanted to people used to ask in our village that old shirts are there, you give it to me, so that they will give the some other utensils. It is sellable. Nowadays nobody is using the after use cloths. So the discarding of these cloths itself is a very, very huge burden onto the environment. See, even for this earlier days, what we burning also, it will affect onto the environment. Their restrictions are there. Then by application of this biotechnology, can we can we regenerate the fiber, or can we use it for the other application, or can we make the fabric into the degrade, so that also the here the biotechnology plays a very, very important role. And one more thing is that that the by application of the biotechnology, we need to enhance the suitability of the fabric for the end user. So we were having the different fibers, different natural fibers, animal fibers, protein fibers, viscose fibers, synthetic fibers, so many fibers are there. These has to be modified to the required level by application of the biotechnology, so that it will be eco-friendly. Then to improve the appearance by application of the biotechnology, can we improve the appearance? Already improve the appearance means no that already that in the denim industry, denim is jeans. In the jeans, so many treatment, enzyme treatment, and the biotechnology treatment are being given, where it gives the better appearance and the improved property. So here, like this, we have the challenges for the suitability, converting the whatever the suitability, converting by application of the biotechnology to suitable for the end use. For example, summer cloth, winter cloth, rainy cloth, all these things now that we can try it. And then another important is we improve the feel of the fabric. The feel of the fabric is the feel of the fabric. The feel of the fabric is very, very important here. Is, see, for example, that now the feel of the fabric, the application of the biotechnology, we can improve the feel of the fabric. And one more thing is that to cover the faults in the original fabric. So when the fabric is woven, whenever it is a machine woven, it is the lot of the mechanical parts are being given. Wherever the mechanical part failures are there, again we get the defective cloth. After the getting the defective cloth, again number one is the discarding the defective cloth, and the selling is we have to sell it for the seconds. So during that time, by the application of the biotechnology, can we use it for as a first-hand cloth? So there is a issue. And the usually the textiles is being produced from the machinery, that is weaving machine, a lot of machineries are. When the textile material is passing through the so many material, there is a when the mechanical industry, mechanical process is there the lubricant has to be there. Lubricant will be there. Those lubricants, oil, grease, or the some other foreign materials, staining will be taking place. Once the fabric is stained, those fabric has to be sold it for the as a seconds or the sell it for to the some other industry. So by application of the biotechnology, can we attack the strain? Can we remove the strain? What is the strain? For example, know that tea stain is there, the coffee stain, turmeric stains, and all these things stains are there. By application of the enzymes or the biomaterial, biotechnology, can we remove those stains? Because possible, because now that you in the dry cleaning industry and all, stains are being removed with the help of the chemicals. Once the chemicals is being applied onto the fabric, again the color will be different. The color will go. Again, what the total the fabric or the shirt and or the trousers will not be useful for the wear purpose. Again, no, they will use it for the some other purpose. So there also we can try it. This is the staining onto the textile is a totally burning issue. So this burning issue, if it is there, even in the garment making also, the tailoring machine is being used. In the tailoring machine, they put a lot of the oils, grease and all to make the lubricant to run the machine very smoothly. There also that lot of these stains are being attained by the fabric. Once the stain is attained, again that those has to be sold by the seconds or some other purpose. So there also we have the lot of the issues with in whereas the stain is concerned. And to set a garment shape. for example, when we started using the garment stitched to the bespoke or the stitching industry, so it will the shape of the after some years or some days or some washes, the shape of the fabric will not be retained. So why it is not retained is the textile fibers is having the so many structures. The structural changes will have taken place by yielding the different shape of the fabric. The different shape of the fabric has to be maintained. What we what we call it as a dimensional stability. Dimensional stability in the textile is very poor. By application of the biotechnology, we can study we can retain the dimensional stability, we can maintain the dimensional stability to impart the special properties to the fabric for specific end use, such as antimicrobial. So whatever the undergarments on undergarments are concerned, so because of the so many environmental factors and all, no, so it is give there is a chance of getting the antimicrobial, whereas the medical textile or aged peoples. So in the so many places, if the cloth or the fabric is made up of the antimicrobial, so with the help of the biotechnology, it is very much useful. But nowadays, antimicrobial treatments are there, but the antimicrobial treatment given are very dangerous, which are the carcinogenic. Again, in the antimicrobial treatment, what they will use is nanocarbon, copper, so many things will be used. Again, those are very dangerous to the environment and the human beings. So there, those things, the antimicrobial, if it is the treatment with the help of the biotechnology is given, that will be the very great help to the textile industry. And then one more stage, this thing. Synthetic material means it's a polymer petroleum product. There is a static generation will be there. Then you might have been experienced when you wear the synthetic shirt. So after moving, that it will be the static generation will be huge. So that static generation or reduction in the static generation or increasing the static generation. And already I've discussed dimensional stability. We have a lot of the dimensional stability problems is there, and the abrasion resistance. Abrasion is known that when we the trousers, the lot of the strains is being given where the mechanical load is being given to the fabric. So there, those areas we should have a resistance, abrasion resistance. So the and the pilling. Pilling is not that whereas we, I think you might have been observed in the sweaters, in the knitted goods, knitted means t-shirts and all, Pasari products are the very prone to getting the pilling effect. Pilling means the round, the fiber will come out and run formation of the round shape. So those areas also that we can try with the help of the biotechnology. How is it's very simple. The pilling and the abrasion resistance and all, it can be applied in biotechnology where we can give the some specialized biomaterial application onto these things where it will be remove the extrusion of the fiber so that it will make the smooth yarn. Once the smooth yarn is come there, then it will be resistant to the abrasion. It will be anti-pilling effect will be there. Like this, that we can think it and know that the 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 biotechnologists are very much invited to our textile field to save the environment and to give their technology to our textile so that the the product diversification of quality product can be uh, made. So what we observe in the old age sayings is that seeing is believing. See, this biotechnology is does not apply here. Seeing is not believing here. So biotechnology is only feeling it. It gives the feeling. So this feeling onto the textiles is very much needed, which is possible only with a biotechnologist. So biotechnologists can help our industry, help our environment by their cooperation, by their innovations, by the research. So I'm very much gratitude to the biotechnologist. Thank you very much. So any questions you can ask. Hello.
Sir, Vinod here.
Yeah, tell me, sir.
Sir, can we coat antimicrobial compounds to the silk fabric?
Yes, yes, sir. Very much.
At
See
your
now.
this thing, facility?
Yeah, yeah. We can take a study so that if the antimicrobial material is there, biotechnology material is there, it is the excellent material. Now that way we can try it. But nowadays, no, what I told, whatever the antimicrobials are there, they are very, very dangerous. Instead of the antimicrobial treatment, no, without an antimicrobial treatment is found to be better.
If it is essential oil, can we convert it into a dry spray and we can put it under silk fabrics?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We have so many other technology. We can do it with a plasma technology, nanotechnology, or we can apply onto the fabric and see the antimicrobial treatment.
And sir, one more question.
Yes, sir.
Uh, if we keep the silk fabric for a longer duration, it will give a cold smell, right? How to avoid that?
No, no. Can you repeat, sir?
ಸರ್ ತುಂಬಾ ದಿನ ಸ್ಯಾರಿ ಸೀರೆಗಳು ಮತ್ತೆ ರೇಷ್ಮೆ ಸೀರೆಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಮಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟರೆ
Yeah.
ಒಂಥರ ಫೋರ್ ಸ್ಮೆಲ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ.
That's the fungus attack will because the silk ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ sir, it's a protein material, no? So it attracts the other bacteria, so that the fungus will be generated. So if the what you told, no, suggested, we can try the antimicrobial once the treatment got better, so that now our the costly sari, so almost 50,000, 60,000 rupees sari, our sari can be maintained. So we can try it for the antimicrobial treatment
So
to
the
avoid this issue.
one compound that we are having is a natural compound, which is aromatic also.
Yeah, aromatic also. The aromatic is no, so far the study on the aromatic has been very, very minimum study has been carried out. Yeah. So natural aromatic textile, if it is there, so we need not have to use this spirit sprays and all these things. It will be avoided.
So we
It's very
have
good. Yeah.
proven track record essential oil. So can we try with the fabric?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can take a study, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. I will talk to you in detail.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're most welcome, sir.
We have a question from one of our participants. Dr. Inbakandan, sir, you can unmute yourself now.
Yeah, thank you, sir. It's a wonderful presentation. Actually, sir, I just want to know after getting the silk from the cocoon,
Yes, sir.
the waste product, how we are utilizing, sir? The insect waste,
Sir.
how it is being utilized?
Sir, we don't call it as a waste. In silk processing, there is no waste. For example, whatever the pupa is there from the cocoon, that pupa is selling at the rate of 80 to 100 rupees 1 kg, sir.
Okay.
And second thing, whatever the waste is being generated, those waste is the raw material for the spun silk industry. And
Okay.
moreover, in India, we are exporting it. It is exporting at the rate of around 800 rupees 1 kg, sir.
Okay.
No, nothing is waste, sir.
So the material which is after the extraction of the silk is that will have a rich amount of protein, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very rich
Yes.
amount of the protein. Yeah, protein material only, that is.
Okay, okay, okay. So to utilize that, actually, actually I'm working in Satyabama University.
Yes,
Actually,
sir.
I just want to utilize that. Shall I contact you further, sir, regarding that?
Yes, sir. Very much, very much. See,
Okay, sir.
there is a see whatever you have told. No, it's very much applicable. That whatever the silk is contains around 20% of the sericin.
Okay,
Silk contains raw silk cocoon
okay,
contains fibrin material and the sericin material. Sericin material is the dialysis in the hot water. Just you
okay,
put it in the hot water, it will come out. But
okay,
nowadays, the people are using the soap and the soda solution. So
okay,
that whatever the waste material is there, no, that is what we call as a sericin. It
okay,
contains. Now we have a technology without using the chemical with the high temperature and the high pressure, we can take out the sericin. The
okay,
sericin material is having the everywhere it is being used. Those
okay,
whatever the waste you are talking, no, sir. Those is being used in the cosmetic industry, paint industry, and this medical tablets, drug carrying system. All everywhere this sericin is being used. Sericin, what we call it as a waste material, which it is a content of about 20%. If you take the 1 kg, the 20% will be the sericin only. It will be dissolved in the water. So
okay,
those that waste also it can be used.
okay.
Yes.
Sir, if possible, can I have your email? It can be shared in the chat box also, sir. Your contact address, if you just share it, I mean, your mail ID, it will be very useful for me.
Yeah, yeah, yes, sir. I will say how to share. No, that I don't
If
know.
even if organizers they share in the chat box,
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it will be useful.
I will ask the organizer, Dr. Manjunath sir and their team, to give my mail ID, sir.
yes,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
We'll be
Yeah.
posting in the chat box, sir. Only just a second, sir.
Thank
Yes.
you, thank you, thank you, ma'am,
Thank
and
you.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Sangappa sir,
Sir, tell me, sir.
sir, you told it is exported, right?
Sir.
You told that waste is exported, right?
Yes, 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 yes.
So what
Because
purpose?
see, instead of the converting into the value addition as a spun silk, we have lot of the demand from the other countries like China, Taiwan, Thailand, and all. No, there, no, already they have established a very big industry. Hence, no, that instead of converting it, making into the spun silk yarn, we are directly exporting it because they are getting very high, very good price. 800 rupees to 900 rupees 1 kg, sir. That is whatever the waste, reeling waste.
What they do, sir, with that?
No, again, no, they will make the yarn, spun silk yarn.
So we can also make that, right?
We
Instead
can
of
also make it.
exporting.
No, we have earlier in the KSIC, we have the sufficient industry where here. So those industries know that earlier the silk price was not that much attractive. So which was not exporting, no. Early,
Hmm.
nowadays exporting import people they are using it for the quilts also. Silk is now that the waste goes for the quilt also. Quilt
Okay.
is now where the cold countries are there, so they need quilts. So silk is the best air conditioned material.
Yes.
If you wear in the winter season, it will be your body will be kept warm. In the summer, if you wear it, your body will make you cool. So this is the nature.
So that can be taken up for entrepreneurship, right? Instead of
Yes, sir.
exporting,
Yes,
export
entrepreneur.
the
See,
material.
sir. For the entrepreneur, we are giving the 80% subsidy is there, sir. We give, government of India gives those who are interested to take up the entrepreneurship, for them we are giving the 80% subsidy on the machinery product, machinery component and working capital. So many facilities are there. So the highest compared to the agriculture or any other industry, we give 80% mean, which is the record, sir. In government of India, we are the highest subsidy people.
Great to hear, sir. Hope our resource person has clarified all the doubts for the participants. And if any questions are there, we can contact Dr. Sangappa sir directly. So he's very
Sir,
certain
my mail, some participant asked my mail ID and all. No, it
Yes,
can be
sir.
shared.
Shared.
It can be shared, sir.
It
Yes.
is shared already.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
So
sir.
they will contact you in case of any. So,
Okay, sir.
on behalf of management and the organizing committee and myself, we thank Dr. Sangappa for sparing his valuable time and explaining in detail about the various opportunities available for biotechnology in textile industry and in particular to the silk industry. And he is open for collaboration also, and he is very supportive and kind. Whenever we approach them for any kind of help, he is open. Even he is ready to accept many of our students as interns and projects also. On behalf of everybody, I wholeheartedly thank you, sir, for your kind consent and for delivering mind-blowing and very informative, thought-provoking talk, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, madam. Thank you, the HOD and your full team, your cooperation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Dear participants,